Hello and welcome to another session of Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen and these are my colour conversations. It's that time of the month again where we look at the colour readings for each birthday for the following month, and we're almost heading towards the end of the year at a great pace. It's coming up to November. So how has your October gone? Did you use your colours? Mine for October were cyan on grey. And yes, I have been using them. And it's interesting that they've actually resolved a dilemma for me. The grey was all about uncertainty, confusion. And what were those about? Well, basically, it was whether or not I would continue to do these sessions. Mainly because they take such a long time to both read and also edit, but also because there hasn't been a great deal of online engagement with them. Nevertheless, the cyan says, wait. And so I did. And out of the blue, so to speak, came a private message from someone who had been invited by a subscriber to have a look and to consider and to give some feedback. I received that feedback on my channel's Gmail account. I'll put a link to that down in the show notes below, in case you would prefer to talk to me privately rather than engage on a public forum. Nevertheless, it was very heartening, and so here I am once again. I hope that you too have been using your colours if you are so inclined, and that perhaps it has made a difference to the way in which you would normally respond to situations in your everyday life. If you have, please let me know, because I'd be interested to find out just how accurate a lot of these readings are. They certainly are exceptionally accurate when someone is choosing their own colours, but these are general readings, and so not everything will resonate for every person, and I'd like to know just how close those resonations might be, if at all. So what are we going to do this time? Well, the oracle I've chosen for this session is the Medicine Woman Oracle. It's primarily feminine, but then so is cyan. And hopefully it will have some messages for you that will be of benefit as we go through the process. And now let's do a reading for people born in the month of May for the November 2025. And we'll just choose a oracle card. And we'll pop it there for the time being. And now I want a colour reading for people born in the month of May for their November 2025. And we begin with pink on black. We move on to red on white, and then pink on orange. And the underlying energy is white on orange. All right, well, we can see here that there are three colours that are repeated in this particular reading. The first of these is pink. It comes through as the activity in the energy you bring with you into the month, and it remains in that same position as you leave the month. Then we have white. White is the underlying need or drive that energizes the middle of the month, but it's also in the underlying energy throughout the entire month as the activity. And then finally, we have orange. Orange as the need or drive towards the end of the month, and then also as the need or drive, but the underlying energy that permeates the entirety of the month. Let's have a look at this underlying energy first. White over orange. It's basically a state of needing to overcome some sort of discontent, disquiet, crisis. Orange internally is always associated with some sort of dissatisfaction. There is some sort of butterfly in the stomach feeling. There is disquiet happening, and that need or drive to overcome whatever that disquiet is or what it caused by comes across in the real world as being overwhelmingly from everywhere, and also scatters energy from everywhere. You're going to be asked to face up to reality and deal with the issues that arise as a result of this need or drive to survive whatever calamity occurs in the real world. Now, when we look at what's happening in the energy coming into the month, here we have pink over black. Black internally is not just a need to withdraw from social life, to get in touch with your own inner self, to take time out, but it's also a need to face up to the fact that you're feeling depressed, you're feeling low energy. In the real world, there is a vulnerability. Sometimes pink in the real world comes across as some form of illness or incapacity. Perhaps you're not feeling the energy, you're not feeling the love that is necessary to make you cope with whatever it is that has caused this depression in the real world, but you will need assistance, you'll need help, you'll need friends, people around you who are going to be able to help you overcome this depressive phase that you're going through. Now, if we look at what happens when we put the two energies together, here we have pink in the real world and white in the real world as the things that you're actually doing. When we add pink and white together, it enlightens the pink and makes it harder to achieve. Pink and white together have to do with getting your just desserts. It is justice. It is receiving what you have, compensation or retribution, whichever way you want to look at it, for what it is that you have put out into the real world. On the other hand, we have here black and orange. Now, black and orange together darkens the orange down and makes it far more difficult to be able to survive the issue that you are trying to overcome. You are not going to be able to escape this particular sense of disquiet and upset, and everything in your world's fallen apart that you would have expected to be able to deal with. You can't do it very easily at all. On the other hand, we also have pink that can be crossed over with orange. Orange, that sense of disquiet, pink being vulnerable in the real world. You don't know at the beginning of November how you're going to survive this lack of energy, this feeling of being ill at ease. On the other hand, you could have white over black. That is, although you are withdrawing inside yourself, in the real world, opportunities and experiences and abundance are all around you. But do you know how to grasp them? And this is possibly the major conundrum you're going to be facing as you come into November. By the middle of November, that white, that need for clarity, that curiosity, that having to face up to reality, having to deal with whatever the universe has thrown at you, comes through as you being able to stand up, get in control, start to take control of your own life. But red and white together are just another way of saying pink. This, however, separates the colours out. And because it separates them out, it means that in the real world, there is a sense of not just being energized, but there's anger in there too. There is a rage that causes you to consider just how unfair things have been. Pink is exhaustion, but red is the gathering together of all of your energy and fighting against that sense of exhaustion. Now, when we add red and orange together, this is definitely a color combination that has to do with that fight against exhaustion. There is a feeling of outrage, and in the real world, you are going to rectify it no matter what. And that may even require the spilling of blood. So be extremely careful throughout the month of November, because there is here the potential that you will do something on a whim, because red is also to do with impulsiveness, as a result of this disquiet that causes you even more pain and calamity than it really should. On the other hand, we can have white over white. And this is a clash of reality. It is suddenly being smashed face to face with what the universe has decided to give you as your next trial, if you like. And you can be curious about it, because white on white often has to do with curiosity and wanting to discover more, having to deal with things that you are unfamiliar with. But but linked with this red and orange, I dare say it's more likely to be a clash with reality. There is something coming up for you in November that is unexpected. It will cause you to want to withdraw suddenly and not have to deal with anything. There's a great deal of sorrow here. By here, the sorrow is gone, and instead there is having to take charge, become your own boss, so to speak. By the end of the month, we have a combination of pink and orange. Now, pink and orange is exactly what you started the month with here. Pink in the real world as an action, that is, needing to have people around, needing assistance, needing friends, because you are incapable of doing for yourself, driven by the orange, which is a crisis that you need to overcome. And by the end of the month, that's exactly where you find yourself completely. You also have the ability here, white and pink together, which is exactly what you had here, an enlightened form of pink, which means that there's every chance that your energy levels will be so low that you will absolutely need assistance from others in order to be able to cope. On the other hand, orange on orange is all about survival, survival at any cost. And survive you will, because survival is something that we do when we are faced with overwhelming odds, but also have that little bit of yellow in there, that little bit of knowledge, as well as the energy from the red, so orange is red and yellow together, that enables you to think and to act simultaneously. I find this a rather interesting combination, because the pink and white suggests a lack, whereas the orange on orange suggests very much power. It should be a rather interesting combination. Let's have a look at what's missing in terms of the colors. You have black, you have white, you have red. There's no yellow as such. There's no green or blue or brown, but you do have orange. There's no gray. There's no purple. You have pink, but there is no cyan. So here we have 7 colors that represent the skills that are missing from your life at present. They're the ones you're not using, and they're the ones that are necessary for you to undertake to cope with this repetition of whatever it is that you come into the month with, combined with your underlying energy. So here we have the pink and white together, and at the end of the month, we have pink and orange, which also repeats. So there is a cyclical thing happening here, and that cyclical thing brings you back to where you started from, only this time without feeling quite so low about whatever it is that has happened that has caused you to lose the energy. So out of those 7 colors, which is the most appealing and which is the least appealing. And use those two colors in your life to help you overcome this drama that is causing you to lose your ability to be energetic. So what does the oracle have to offer us? We have vision. I give you confidence in your divination talents. It's very odd, because the confidence is what you are lacking here. That's why it is the driver, the need that you have to overcome. And it's your underlying energy as well as the energy with which you leave the month. Divination talents, of course, are part of this psychic energy that comes with the black, but it also is tied in with the white in terms of inspiration. So perhaps your abilities to be able to feel as though you have what it takes to be able to connect with spirit as well as with reality is what this divination talent is all about. I think November is going to be an extremely critical month for you people in May, but it's also going to be extremely interesting and potentially exciting too. Wow. Well, some of that was pretty intense, wasn't it? I hope you're finding something useful out of these color readings. And if you're watching them and don't really want to comment online on the open forum, feel free to send me a message through the Gmail account that's attached to this channel. I'll be more than happy to interact with you. In the meantime, may the colors of your life bring you joy and happiness and all of the things that you desire. We're coming up to Christmas soon. That'll be the next series.